In June 1948, the United States led efforts to organize West Germany as a separate nation. Stalin responded by blockading all highway, rail, and river traffic into Berlin, cutting off its more than 2 million inhabitants from food, fuel, and vital supplies.
Endless cars of vitally needed coal are stalled by the Russian blockade of Berlin. But that is only part of the story. As the red noose is drawn closer about the western sector of the capital, switches are pulled on generators, and the fuel famine forces drastic power cuts. Berlin becomes a city of darkness as all ground communication is severed and industry comes to a standstill.
Harry Truman had a series of choices. The U.S. military commanders advised Truman to try to fight their way through that blockade, which could have led to really dangerous military confrontation. Truman could have ignored it and essentially said, so let them have Berlin. We got the rest of Germany. What he decided to do instead was a third option, which was try to fly over the blockade.
To 450 flights daily, carrying thousands of tons of food into the beleaguered capital, flying an air corridor threatened by endless...
These were 4-engine airplanes. They carried a load of 10 tons of whatever. And we needed 450 tons a day just to keep those people in West Berlin alive.
27-year-old Hal Halverson was one of those pilots.
Not one of those 30 kids had put out their hand and said, "You got any chocolate?" These kids were so grateful, I had to do something.
Hal didn't ask anyone's permission. He then started fashioning tiny parachutes out of handkerchiefs and tied candy to each one.
I'll wiggle the wings of that big airplane.
Those wing wiggles became Hal's trademark. He dropped dozens of tiny parachutes, and grateful German children spread the word about their former enemies, the Americans, and what they were doing.
The candy bar, that was a symbol of hope.
All told, America's legions of candy bombers dropped about 250,000 tiny parachutes over Berlin and millions of pounds of candy.
The Berlin airlift marked a very high point in American Cold War history. It was an incredible technological achievement. And when Stalin saw that the airlift was working, he sent out signals to the United States that he was ready to talk about this, and he lifted the blockade.